opportunity will be playing before Nicholas Jackson's eyes over and over again. He had a chance to salvage something from the game. He didn't.
He didn't, and it's marks of a striker who is desperate to deliver, but he snatches at these kinds of chances. And I want to take a look at his stats, and we'll look at his all-round play. He passes the ball an average of 25 times per game. And let's take a look at players in a similar position. Erling Haaland passes the ball 9.7 times per game. Eddie Nketiah at Arsenal passes the ball 15.5 times per game. Isak at Newcastle passes the ball 13.3 times again. For a player who is playing in his position, you are expected to be the primary goal scorer for your club.
Yep.
When you are devolved into setting up play, starting play, unfortunately, you place yourself too far from the goal to take your chances. And when he does get into these positions, he more often than not misses them. I think so far he has 6 big chances missed. And
wow. This season already.
And you've come into a league where you come into a team where you are expected to score goals. You are expected to contribute to goals and assists. And unfortunately, it's not worked out for him. I know he has a lot of talent. He is very good with his feet, very strong, very quick. But unfortunately, when things go on, more games come, he doesn't score.
You become more desperate.
You become more desperate. Yep. You start misplacing your passes. You start second-guessing yourself. And we are seeing it already. He doesn't have any support from anyone. Sterling is not going to get you the goals. Noni Madueke is not going to get you the goals. Conor Gallagher is not going to get you the goals. And the further he plays away from goal, the more chances he misses, which would have been better for him to get goals. And I feel the whole of Chelsea's performance yesterday was flat. It's not just him. Everyone had a flat game. And the stats also say so. Long passes, 53%. Crosses, 13%. Even when they tried to rely on individual play, the dribbling was not working. They only had 59% success. And you can't afford not to let your crosses, your passes stick when you are facing a team as defensively astute as Nottingham Forest were on the day. And it's not just the defense that was working. I think Awoniyi is probably one of the most underrated strikers in the Premier League. Forget the 7 goals he had scored prior to this game in 7 games. Chelsea struggled to deal with his physicality, both in the air and on the ground. You saw a couple of balls into the box where they were struggling to head it away, but it always seemed to stick to Awoniyi. He might not have scored, but he caused them a lot of problems. And I'm surprised a big club hasn't looked at him as probably an alternative striker or maybe a second choice or a first choice.
I'm sure by the end of this season,
coming. But for Chelsea, they need to start picking up the results. This is a young squad that has the potential to become one of the best in the world. But currently, things don't seem to be gelling right now. And a lot of people have pointed to the fact that Pochettino is not playing his favorite formation. He's stuck to playing the 3 at the back or 5 back, as people would like to think, because of a number of injuries, because players are now coming in. They didn't have preseason with the team. They are now settling in. And he doesn't have too much time. At a club like Chelsea, where you are expected to deliver the results,
the fans started.
The fans expect you to win every single game. These kinds of results, especially at home in a game where you are fancied to win, but not only win very comfortably, unacceptable. And as time goes on, the pressure will definitely mount on him, and he will start to feel the heat. Right now, I think people are letting him off because he just came into the club. Things were much worse last season. And a lot of changes have been made to the team, but eventually they'll start expecting the results from him. And right now it's not going as they expected.
Coach, Edwin has said a lot. Do you place this at the doorsteps of the players or the coach? Because I saw chances that I thought should have been put away. Those chances get put away, the complexion of the game is different.
I think you have to start from the manager.
Okay.
Tactically, the entire Chelsea setup looked a confusing one. My little tactical knowledge would tell me that if I'm going a back three and I have wing backs, Raheem Sterling should not be operating that wide. Tactically, he should be the one of the two behind the main striker. Okay? So he should have been alongside Enzo Fernandez, behind. That would have tactically prevented Nicholas Jackson from dropping two. Because anytime he would have attempted to do so, he would have been going behind Raheem Sterling and Enzo Fernandez. But for the fact that the system, a back three, wing back, kept Raheem Sterling far right. Every time, all the time, in the pathway of the wing back. It's Gusto. Gusto. And I was asking myself, of all the back three I have seen, with the wing back system I have seen, I've never seen another person in the way of the wing back. When Reece James is there, he's the only person operating on that side.
That's the whole point of having the wing back.
That is the whole point of having a wing back. But you look at the Chelsea system yesterday, which obviously was a back three, wing back, then you have Gallagher and Caicedo, then Enzo Fernandez and Raheem Sterling. But Raheem Sterling's tactical awareness and position was absolutely, completely wrong. And I expected Mauricio Pochettino to have rectified it, because that was one, in fact, that was the number one reason why Nicholas Jackson kept dropping, because there was a place to occupy. But if he's there and he's coming and there are people there, he wouldn't come there. He needs to stay. They will also push him further up the pitch. Look, there was one sequence. The highlight didn't capitalize that. Chilwell went on the bar line and then he whipped in the cross. I was looking for where Nicholas Jackson was. He was nowhere in the box, and Raheem Sterling was the right winger doing a diagonal coming into the box. He didn't get there early, and then the chance went away. Again, if you are playing this sort of system, you will need a proper ball juggler. Enzo Fernandez is not a ball juggler. He can never be one. The strength of that man's game is to dictate the tempo of the game. Maybe with time, the boy they've bought from Man City will be asked to go and play in the hole. Maybe Gallagher will have to give way for Enzo to come and play alongside Moise Caicedo. I think that will give them a better balance and a bit more creativity than having Gallagher, Caicedo. If you're going to play, they should be what? A 4-3-3 system. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day. And then there's a whole, like they used to play when they had Michael Essien, Ballack, and then Frank Lampard. If you do that, then all the players tactically will understand their role better, and they will play for each other. That to me was very, very what? Problematic. Again, on the goal, it comes down to the confusing nature of the back three. Look at that ball. Chelsea, they had the ball.
Caicedo lost the ball.
A simple press. A simple press. If you look at the sequence again, Caicedo's only option was to give the ball back to Thiago Silva. But because you and I know Caicedo,
he wants to progress with the ball.
Thinking player. He wants to progress with the ball. There were no other options. There were no other options. There's a back three. When you're in possession of the ball, once the wing back goes forward, the two other center backs will have to give the team width from the back, so that that midfielder or that DM who will pick the ball, and he's got not less than 5 options. Anytime you play a back three with a holding midfielder like Moise Caicedo, when he picks up the ball, he should have not less than 5 options. The 2 center backs who has given him width, the wing back who has given him width, and then passing to anybody in front of him. It could be the striker, it could be the one in front of him as the number 10. But there was nobody there, and therefore they paid for that. Again, in trying to get that goal, I think they were too anxious. You saw, come on, this is Nottingham Forest. What are they doing? This is the bridge. We can't lose this. In a game of football, there are times where you hit, and then you give yourself a breather. Allow them to play too. It's tactics. You cannot keep going because anytime you win, you got repelled. You win, you got repelled. You win, you got repelled.
Langa got a second chance. He could have buried the game.
That away.
Yep.
So there were times that I think they should have just allowed Nottingham Forest to have a feel of it a bit more, thinking that they were dominating. Boom, them bang. There are times where you catch teams unaware like that and you restore parity. This Chelsea team, I've already said, because they don't have a proper number 9.
Yep.
They will struggle to even make the top 6. It is painful, but it is what it is. Because if you look at that team, where do you see the goals coming from? Raheem Sterling is not a 20-plus goal player. Nope. Nicholas Jackson, throughout his playing career, he's never scored 20-plus goals before. Enzo Fernandez, how many goals? He scored only 1 goal since he came to join Chelsea. Yep. Gallagher, Chilwell, where are the goals going to come from? Look, he said, that is why I am forced to believe that it is not Mauricio Pochettino buying all these players. We know he's super great with young players, but a coach of that caliber, a coach who worked with Harry Kane, who virtually made Harry Kane, used Harry Kane to get to the final of the Champions League, a coach who's worked with the likes of Mbappe, the likes of Neymar, the likes of Mario Icardi, clearly understands the importance of having a proper number 9 who score goals. So if I look at the amount of money Chelsea have splashed
with no proper
number 9, they had one, they just couldn't put down their egos. Somebody should have called Romelu Lukaku to the table and said, look, whether you like it or not, we pay your bills. We pay you at the end of every week.
You are staying.
£300,000 a week. Stay, let bygones. That's what coaches do. New coaches, when you walk into the team, say, look, I need him. And I'm very certain if Mauricio has insisted to the owners that, look, I need Lukaku to stay. If you say that,
him to stay.
That should have been one of his conditions before even accepting to be the coach of Chelsea. Romelu stays. If you agree, I join. If you don't agree, I don't accept the job. How do you let go of Romelu and thinking that Nicholas Jackson, Nkuku, who is injury prone, he will come, he will go again. Because his level of injury is not that sort of injury that will heal completely. Anytime stress is put on the foot, he will go. It's a knee injury. They hardly heal. Go ask the likes of Michael Essien, they will tell you that once you start getting those type of injury, then your career is more or less limited to how well you can play. So I mean, look, credit must be given to Nottingham Forest. Yep. They had a game plan. They stuck to it. Yeah. Clearly played to their strength and captain. That was a wonderful goal by ex-Man United player. Like it was a knife through the hearts of the Chelsea supporters. And I really did enjoy that.
Anthony Langa really having the time of his life at Nottingham Forest so far. It's been a really good season. He could have scored twice yesterday, but just got one. Let's